Okay. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning back into Castle Run. I am your DM, Elijah Goodall, pronouns they, them. And we're just going to do a little recap of the last session and change, and then get right into it. But while celebrating Atticus's birthday, the party was ambushed by dread figures, interrupting not only the festivities but Fauna's first kiss with Cletus. After a fight that saw Atticus taking fire for the entire group, shortly after that victory, it came to light that in order to enter into Novalor, somebody would have had to have opened the door that provides a waypoint or a path between different locations in the world and Novalor. And after Atticus driving the revealing flame, your sword into the doorway, you saw party member and I don't know if Cletus fights for the position of best friend with Berta. It seems more like adopted son and best friend, but best friend Cletus opening the door, which allowed the ambushers into Novalor to attack the party. It was a pretty concentrated period of time there at the end of the last session with a lot of investigation and insight checks, and you discovered not only was Cletus unaware of his actions, but he is currently under the effects of a Geish spell that is controlling not necessarily his personality, but certain elements of his behavior or his actions that after he performs these actions, he is unaware of completely. Uh, it escalated in Cletus being destroyed by Firewind on the other side of the door. You all heard a loud knock. Um, After a little bit of back and forth, Cletus uh, being destroyed in flame, I think came out, rose again from the ashes, which was something incredibly surprising, I think, to everyone, but particularly to Atticus. Um, and Cletus, before anyone could stop him, opened that door, and on the other side, Atticus, you saw the entity that you now know as Akron, the false phoenix that has haunted your family lineage for who knows how long. Um, but longer than you've been alive, which is some time. And then on top of all of that, right at the end, looking through onto the other side of that doorway, which was the edge of the south green, the other side of the ley lines, a thing that Fauna had been warned about, something in her curse triggered. And in a transformation that affected not only her body but her mind, she bolted through the doorway, uh, scattering the image of Akron. They disappeared, knocking Cletus down, who had again risen from the ashes, and disappeared into the foothills of Sul'Asa at the edge of the unbroken green. And we're going to pick up right where we left off with the party just standing there, the open door. Cletus is standing there looking at all of you just on the other side of that doorway.
I'm gonna immediately check Cletus's back, where the phoenix rot. I spotted the phoenix rot.
Okay, cool. You got a last session when you went to look for it, you got a nat 20 on investigation, so I'm not going to make you roll again. You know exactly where you're looking and what you're doing. Cletus just kind of stands in front of you, a little bewildered, still having just been resurrected, sort of coming back to himself, picking himself back up from the ground. You go to look at the phoenix rot on the back, just kind of turning him around. It is spread a little bit. You can now see the lesions on his skin that flake off almost like ash has gone down now almost to his lower back and spread across the shoulders in little fissures in the skin that show through as almost like black veins um, underneath, what would usually be green skin on Cletus, but is now graying and pallid. Through the door on the other side, Vlad Thakul comes busting through the door. What the fuck is going on in here? I heard it's... Hey, where's your witch?
Yeah, also, what the fuck happened with that? Is that Fauna? What happened?
Something that happened a long time ago. A failure from a long time ago, and now she's taken by it.
I feel like every time I come back in this room after leaving you alone, something big happens and there's like kind of a fallout, and I'm... Listen.
Yet you keep coming back in.
Well, it is, again, it's my house, so... Listen,
That's weird. We spent so long talking about how it definitely wasn't your house.
Okay, well...
You need something? Do you have something to say?
I'm not, I just, you look at, Vlad has, it's kind of a feat for him being as, how shall we say, scrawny as he is. He has three sets of, essentially it's this thick, black, weathered armor underneath his kind of these breastplates and these little thigh pieces, but was bringing in three sets of them for Nyx, Perrin, and Vox, for the three of you. I think, Perrin, you're going to be distracted. I will let Vox and Nyx, you can both give me history checks.
I got a 3.
Sorry, I just accidentally spilled coffee all over myself. Momentarily fetching the dice.
How hot was the coffee?
Very cold, so it's coffee I forgot and have reheated several times throughout the day per my usual. 14.
Fantastic. Okay. 14, Nyx, you immediately recognize the armor as belonging to its... And the reason that you don't, Vox, is because the last time you saw the Night Guard, it wasn't quite this type of armor, but it's close. Nyx, you recognize it as official armor of the Night Guard, but for high ranking in it, it looks
How dated is it?
And you're connecting it with a memory where it seems very,
is it like
very old, like a much older
traumatic
version
as in current Night Guard armor? Is it like my people wore this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going way back. So not, I guess not even Night Guard really, but like Court of Night armor that was then adopted and tweaked a little bit to fit the Night Guard. But the equivalent of this, I will tell you, I have the stats right here if you want to write them down, and then you can punch them into your character later. But it is functions as +1 studded leather. So studded leather, I think it's going to give you a base AC of 12. You can still use your full dexterity bonus with your AC, but because it's +1, and you also get an additional +1 to your AC. So basically 13 plus whatever your dexterity bonus is. And in addition to that, when you are wearing this, as long as it is night, you get advantage on stealth checks while wearing it.
And that's just night in general, right? It doesn't have any... I don't have to be in darkness for it.
Yeah, just night.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's more time-based thing than light, because it doesn't matter what the phase of the moon is. You know, it wouldn't matter if you're out in full. It just is night, so the sun needs to have set completely. Vlad kind of drops the armor there. Well, fuck me, you know, I was bringing goodbye gifts, but I can, you know.
No, I'm sorry. Look, a lot has happened. We're also a little short on time here. Nyx is scattered and looking around at like Atticus on death's door, technically should have already died, but is still somehow alive after soaking up all of our damage and absorbing that entire like explosion. Cletus, I would assume, in a similar state.
Yeah,
Is he okay? Is he gonna stab us in the back? Cletus, you here?
Okay. The headache's gone.
Perrin takes out the disassembled Ornament of Rights, just the quarterstaff portion, and he walks over and he's just gonna backhand Cletus right in the face.
Yeah, give me a little attack roll for it with advantage. Cletus is still kind of prone on the ground.
I'm going to try and interfere with that. Whatever
Okay.
I have to do to interfere with that.
Give me, we'll just call it, give me contested athletics then.
You literally like lying on the
Between-
ground?
No, he's
Atticus
standing.
isn't. Cletus is on the ground, but Atticus was right over by him.
Yeah, I thought Atticus was at like 1 HP.
Pretty low, but I think not one.
If it helps stop it. I can second wind as well to bring my HP back up. But yeah, I'm at 1, but I immediately went over to
Oh, that's right. You
Cletus
were
to
one.
check
Yeah,
his
because
back.
the armor. Yep, the armor took you down. Yeah, just make me contested athletics against each other to see if you can stop that attack roll.
Do I need to roll athletics for you?
Yes.
I rolled a 17. 9 plus 8.
I also rolled 17.
Contested. God, does it go to the person? Because this is important enough to look up. Actually, I cannot remember. I think when it's contested, it goes to the person trying to stop it. But I want to look it up really quick.
I think it remains the same at a tie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. It just results in the action not happening.
Do you
If
want
it's a tie on athletics.
Do you want Atticus to have halted Perrin before he swings?
I think
Or
mid
blocking
swing.
mid-swing.
I mean, yeah. Atticus, you tell me what it looks like
What do you
as
think,
Perrin
Atticus?
goes into backhand Cletus.
I think Atticus would just like grab his wrist and like stop it before it made contact.
What did you do?
I didn't. Was that Fauna?
It was Fauna, and now she's gone. What did you do?
I don't. Atticus, what's happening to me?
It still is her. We'll
Perrin.
fix this.
Let's wrangle our things and go now. Cletus, collect yourself.
Okay.
We'll talk about it on the way. And then I scream for her.
Right. Yeah, Bert, I think at this point comes down kind of sleepy. Oh, what I miss?
What the fuck,
Grab your
Robert?
things. Put your armor on. We're leaving right
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Quick start. Yep. One of the yeah.
Nyx is gonna like place a hand on Perrin's shoulder and kind of look him in the eye and She left in a hurry. Okay. She's going to leave tracks. Tracks we can follow. We have time. We need to regroup. We got this. Just breathe.
Right.
We'll find her and we'll fix it.
Okay. 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 Perrin is
Glad. Thank
noticeably not okay, but he's trying to say okay.
I don't think anyone else is in this situation.
I am at 1 HP, so I'm just gonna burn my my second wind.
Yeah,
Just to
cool.
get a little HP back.
Okay.
And
I'm not as good as this as Fauna is,
16, so 17. Just yeah.
I'll do my best. And Nyx is also gonna just burn through healing spells and give to both Cletus and Atticus. I gotta say, Cletus, not sure if I trust you with the weapon right now or with your hands free.
I will be his ward. I will look after him.
Cletus, without saying anything, just pulls both short swords out and flips them around. And Atticus, if you want to take him, or if Nyx wants to take him, but
I'll
Cletus,
take him.
okay, yeah, Cletus gives up his swords. And you all.
Are we able to call this a short rest? Is this? I mean, that's an hour.
Yeah,
in
I
real
think
time.
I think it's fair for this to be
Okay.
a short, like the events between.
So
Yeah.
while we have all this healing happening, Amos will cast Beacon of Hope. So any healing spells you're going to get max value. You don't have to roll. And Perrin will also have Font of Inspiration. You will hear him humming. I think Nyx would recognize this perhaps as being like a Fey war song, which is just kind of like an eerie humming, like a weird atonal melody that's going between weird pitches, and it's a little unsettling. But Font of Inspiration, I'm sorry, not Font of Inspiration, the thing that heals everybody. Song of Rest. Not Song of Rest. Yeah, Song of Rest. You get a Bard. If anybody expends hit dice, you get an extra 1d6, but it's max value because of Beacon of Hope. So whatever healing takes place, you get max value.
And yeah, so during a short rest, I can't remember how many hit. I think you might be able to roll your full hit die, but it would be.
Yeah. Everybody just has
If
to
Beacon of
decide
Hope
how
is
to-
happening, I think all your hit points come back because your full hit dice are your. I guess you wouldn't get your Constitution, so it'd be minus your Constitution. So I guess for all of you, just take you're level 10 now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just
I never
take.
got hit last time.
Yeah. So Atticus, for you, that means you're taking 10d10 back, so a full 100 hit
Full
points
value.
back, which might even be more than your hit points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more than my hit points.
Okay. And that's just from
But-
short rest, so should I not do healing spells right now?
It's just not really necessary.
Okay, cool.
You can keep the
Perfect.
spell
I mean,
slot.
yeah,
Gain
it
your
saves
spell
those
slots
for
from
me.
short rests.
Certain classes do.
I do.
I think
Oh.
like
Right,
warlocks.
that's what I meant, is Nyx does,
Yeah, sorcerers might too. Yeah.
I actually don't know if I do or not.
I'm only asking this because if we do have other stuff happen, we're going to need a long rest at this point because
Right.
we're burning
Yeah.
most of our short rest
For sure.
benefits.
I will also say, as you're heading, you're probably. I mean, it's already nighttime heading out, so it's like you're looking at nighttime out in the South Green too. But you're gonna get a few hours of this. It depends on if you want to press through the night or not. But before that happens, you mentioned that little tune that you were humming, Perrin. Nyx, give me a history check real quick.
Just a 10.
Okay, you recognize it, but you can't, it seems familiar, but you can't place it.
Perrin will put on this new armor, but he's going to strap some loose bits of fabric from his old clothes over it, so he's still got his elven cloak and elven undershirt and a few other he's just gonna like clip off some of the buttons and sew on things that he had and make sure that all of his little fits over it.
Awesome.
Basically, my point is it's like 30%
It's-
does not look like a night guard outfit by
Right.
the time he's done.
Yeah. Okay. You all don the Bert's back in his armor. Atticus, you've got Cletus's weapons. Vlad bids you all a hasty farewell. The Novalor stores are open to you anytime you should wish to return. Atticus, the rest of you, it was good to have you.
The
You
doors
were
of the
really
Phoenix Manor
kind
are
to
always
us.
open.
Vlad bids you farewell. At this point, Perrin, I'm going to need from you a survival check to track fauna, and you can do it with advantage because Amos is helping you, like flitting ahead, coming back, surveying the area. But this survival check is pretty high stakes.
Say with advantage because of Amos?
Yes.
Hey, Vlad. Do me a favor. When those bugs in your basement return, fire them.
Fire them. I'm not sure they'll listen to me, but I mean, I guess.
Tell them Mira is dead. Their payment isn't coming.
You can either fire them or fire them. You should probably stock up on something flammable.
Right.
Or flood it.
Flammable. Flood. Interesting options. Well, if Mira's dead, then. Wait, I have an important. No one had mentioned before that Mira was dead to Vlad, correct?
Right.
I thought it was talked about. Fuck.
As you say, like, restoring, like she'll be back around. Hold on, do you
He's
mean
not
like
coming back.
like dead?
Like I pissed on
she-
her corpse dead.
Oh, fuck. Okay,
What do you
well,
mean, fuck?
probably best. No, probably best if you go. I'll be fine. You've got things to do. Head out the door. I don't mean to play coy. If Mira is
Because you're
dead,
very bad at it.
if Mira is dead, much worse things will be coming here than just those large ants. And it is probably in my best interest to either batten down the hatches or to not be here when the worst things get here. So, hey,
Sounds like moving out and flooding the entire place is your best bet.
yes. And you see Vlad puts a hand up to the walls and kind of... Yes. Well, I hope to see you again, friends.
I genuinely don't know what we did to earn that moniker, but I appreciate it all the same.
If you make your way down to Phoenix Manor, the hospitality will be returned.
Yes, well, perhaps after I flood Novalor and get whatever's coming off my tail, I'll make my way down there. Farewell. And he's going to give you a bow and leave the room. Perrin.
Stay alive, huh? Be sad to lose Thomas.
Oh, yes. Yes.
All right,
it
we're
was
losing light.
19 on the survival.
Okay. 19 on the survival. Perrin, you are the first to step through the door. Amos immediately flits from your shoulder and begins making larger and larger circles, reporting back. It's not hard to pick up on Fauna's tracks. Not only did she make a hasty retreat in her new form, but her new form is heavy. The claws on her feet, and what looks to almost be most likely hands too, from the way the prints are made, but it almost as if she's running on all fours. The prints are deep. As you step into the South Green for the first time, Perrin, a smell that is somewhat familiar to you. You've been down to a couple places in the South Green, and that wild, grassy smell combined with the muck of bogs, the hum of insects, and the hoots and cries of far stranger things here in the foothills of Sul'Asa, echo back Atticus. For you, it sounds like home. And perhaps what would have been in spite of your reasons for returning to this place, what might have been kind of a joyous moment for you is tainted by not only the burden of whatever is happening to Cletus, but also the disappearance of Fauna under far less than ideal circumstances. Perrin, on that 19, you are furiously trying to follow these tracks. The speed with which you can tell that Fauna is moving the pace is incredible. It is like trying to catch up to a sprinting warhorse. Little flickers of fireflies interrupt your path every now and then down here in the South Green. And you quickly come to realize that with the distance that Fauna is putting between herself and the party, on a 19, you're going to be able to continue to follow the trail. If she keeps this pace up, you are days away, if not weeks, from tracking her down. I think after a few hours into this, are you as you're coming to this realization, Perrin, that like you can follow the trail, but you are no match for her speed, especially having left the cart and your little Ashka's behind. And not
Is this,
little large Ashkas.
This is like, it's like wetlands and grasslands kind of combined. That's the terrain.
Yeah, here you're at the base of Sul'Asa, which, you know, Sul'Asa are the almost like the Appalachian foothills of the South Green. Very grassy, like just kind of like as soon as a valley stops being a valley, it's back to being a hill again, and so forth. But you are at the edge of these hills, so kind of, you know, to the north is Sul'Asa, and that even in the dark, the landscape of hills breaks up the horizon line. South of you, kind of being right on that border, is meadows and wetlands, basically, and those extend for some distance through what the natives here call Atka'ath, but which is known to in the common tongue as the Unbroken Green. I think you and Atticus have spoken enough of the journey that you know on the other side of this. Let me check my distance, because I think it's about a week in travel, but I think if you were to travel through the Unbroken Green, you're about a week away. Oh no, not even a week. You're about 3 days from Phoenix Manor if you travel directly south across the Unbroken Reed. The tracks, unfortunately, do not lead across the Unbroken Green, but rather Fauna seems to be following the base little foot here in Sul'Asa and slowly, sorry, I said slowly, that's not true, very quickly making her way southwest, northwest against these mountains. So basically headed, yeah, if you look at those two little points of fire, if you're looking at the map right now, like points of interest to Atticus,
Following
yeah,
the
you're
line of the
you're kind
hills.
of in between of those right now, and Fauna's tracks are making their way back up north to that higher point of flame. As you go to camp, you would overhear Cletus speaking to Atticus. I mean, that's the House of Legrand. It's Cletus's home, and that is the direction that the tracks are headed in. Are you pushing through, or is the group going to take a long rest out here?
I think Perrin's gonna pull. I think Perrin is going to pull Nyx aside. I don't know if we can keep up the pace we need to keep up if we stay as a group. Atticus has things he needs to take care of. I can't leave her, though.
I know. I think maybe this is something we should settle together, but in the meantime, look, we're tired. Half of us are... I know we've patched up wounds, but it's just slapping a band-aid on things. We need to rest. We need to regroup. These tracks are still going to be there in morning light. I've seen you track a lot harder things than this. We'll catch up with her.
She's moving real fast. I don't know if I can catch up with her.
She has to rest eventually too, right? And right now, the way things are going, if we run into danger out there in the wilds, us and Fauna's last hope are going to die. Keeping us alive and together is her best chance.
Perrin is just like clenching fists and then trying to force his hands to open up and then just instinctually clenching back up. And he's so I've talked about this before, sometimes especially when he's drunk and then gets serious and goes into combat, he has kind of like a different demeanor go across his face. He's been in that, like his face is flat. And this is the longest he's been that. Nothing is showing on his face right now. He's just in this blank zone. Fine. All right. Set up in camp.
I think seeing that, Nyx again is going to reach for Perrin's shoulder. And at first it's light, but the harder he gets in his expression, almost as if they're releasing themselves too, Nyx is going to pull him in for a hug. And I don't know whether he responds or not, but they're going to breathe out, almost trying to willfully let out a breath for Perrin.
I think Perrin is effectively limp, but I think you feel Amos hop closer to you and kind of nuzzle, and Amos kind of receives that hug.
We're gonna find her.
Right.
We are.
I'll go get watch set up with Vox. And Perrin is gonna go over to Vox, and he's gonna say, he's He's gonna go over to Vox and he's gonna say, I'll get watch set up with Atticus. Get a good night's rest. And then Perrin is gonna go to Atticus. And he's gonna say, I'll get watch set up with Nyx. So just make sure you get a lot of rest tonight. And then Perrin is gonna go sit on a rock and wrap himself in his cloak and just stare into the night.
Perrin, you stare out into the night. The moment of Fauna's transformation playing over and over again. Amos settles in, tucked into that little crook on your shoulder between your neck, but you can tell from the way that she doesn't move, she's not sleeping either. She's watching. Give me, if you're trying to stay awake all night, give me a Constitution save.
He will at some point, like once everyone is asleep, he'll try to like keep busy. He'll check out his armor. He'll check everyone's
Cool.
equipment.
Okay.
Kind of make his way around camp.
Okay, great.
15 flat. Constitution. Ooh. Yeah, 14.
Okay. Yeah, you are going to be able to stay awake the whole night. I will say this, though. You're kind of making your way around the camp. Where you set up camp, you set up, there was a moment where you saw the tracks sort of stopped for it. Fauna had spent some time near like a small kind of little partial grove of, I think, ash trees out here, kind of sunk into the mud on the edges of the unbroken green. Tall grass. As you're making your way around, you notice a section on a tree, almost like where you would find a stag or perhaps some other horned fey creature, where they tend to like shed. They make those marks on a tree when they're trying to rub their horns or their antlers. You can see there's these deep marks in the bark of this tree. Make me a nature check.
Yeah, he kind of reaches out to touch, but doesn't quite make contact. Oh, I'm sorry, you said nature check?
Yeah.
Bad. 7.
On a 7, you reach out, almost touching it. Not quite. Something in the air, but it fades. Everyone else that is not Perrin, go ahead and roll me a d20.
Ten.
12.
20! Not 20.
Easy lovers can't lose.
Okay.
Easy lovers can't.
Oh, there should be a little reward for that in what is about to happen. The three of you, as Perrin staying up all night, doesn't wake anyone for watch, goes about tending to the camp and trying to learn what he can of the path that Fauna may take and what her actions in these first few hours are. Vox, we're gonna start with yours. You tell me, how often does Vox remember her dreams?
I think more recently, Vox has started to have dreams instead of nightmares. So definitely tries to remember them as often as possible.
It's not the first time that you've seen this place, Fox. And while sometimes it's been in a nightmare, and now, occasionally more recently dreams, it's always only ever been from a distance. The dark, distinctly broken off tower of Moorhold, far in the distance, which you have learned within the last month is, I suppose, your ancestral home. And having those fragmented memories that you do from the other version of yourself, it's hard to distinguish what is a dream and what is actual memory of this place. But in the dream, you are approaching Moorhold, closer than you've ever been in a dream or a nightmare. The cold wind whips around you. There's no snow falling, but a thin layer of it coats the ground. It's the only sound as you crunch through it, approaching the tower. As you approach, you see not its front doors, but what appears to almost be a side door to the keep, and instead of a staircase that ascends into the tower, you see it descends to something deep beneath the tower. The doors to it are wide open, but you can't see past the entrance. It's pitch black. And from out of it, you feel a wind. It carries a scent that is stale, old, and somehow even colder than the frosty night that surrounds you. And on either side of that door, you see two skeletons. One wearing the dark leather armor of your uncle, Theon, a dagger in the bones of its hand, and the other is dressed like your mother. And as you see these images, and you feel that, almost that tug of like something worse is about to happen, or you feel something on the other side of those doors. It's like the moment in a dream where it starts to turn into a nightmare, and hopefully whatever comes through is intense enough that it wakes you up, because you feel like you don't want to see what's down there in the darkness underneath the tower. You hear an eerie and distant horn somewhere far behind you. The music of it is almost intoxicating, and as happens in a dream, Vox, you, without control, turn around and begin to walk towards the south, towards the sound of that horn as it echoes across. And you smell that same smell that you did when you walked through the door into the South Green for the first time, because this is the farthest you've ever been from home. And something about that horn calls to you. Atticus, you got a 12?
Yep.
Okay. Atticus, on a 12, We're back in the South Green. If this was a oh my god, why did I just forget the word for a dream where you know it's a dream? If this was a not a lucid, thank you. If this was a lucid dream, it would probably be what you'd want to do anyway, but it is not. You're a child again, playing in the long, wet grass of the unbroken green just outside Phoenix Manor, whacking at things with sticks, catching bugs, chasing the small creatures that dash to and fro in the grass. And it feels like you could just stay here forever. It is such a relief from the things that you have been experiencing lately. Even with the history of your family and what you've been learning recently, the pact that you were, without your consent, signed into. There's something tugging at you in the dream. And you know it's that moment where it could go from being a dream to being a little bit more than a dream as you feel something behind you. Do you turn around in the dream?
You betcha.
You turn around. You can see Phoenix Manor in the distance. And far beyond Phoenix Manor, you see a black smoke that rises days away. You can see from the way the smoke is rising and how dark it is that fire is headed your way. And as that creeping dread begins to fill your chest, Atticus, you also, from the north towards Sul'Asa, hear that same resounding, reverberating, eerie horn. Almost more like a voice than it is an instrument. And it pulls to you. You turn from the flame. And you begin to take those steps across the unbroken green towards the sound of the horn resounding. As you do, on a little stump jutting out of the mud near you, you see a small green frog. It's like if Bert was just a regular frog, same coloring, same. The frog looks at you. Better wake up.
Atticus becomes aware that they're asleep.
Yeah. As you do when somebody in a dream tells you to wake up. Nix.
Atticus begins breathing manually.
Yeah.
Nix. You are back in the Nightlands. You sit on a throne. A throne that is familiar to you in its placement because it looks out on the same courtroom that your father's thrones did. But there's just one throne now. The other toppled and shattered on the black floor. The sea air has worn away at the tower around you, collapsing it in parts. The ceiling so much that most of it is open, and the smallest sliver of a waning moon shines through and illuminates the courtroom in front of you. It's empty except for a figure kind of, as they step into the space, disappear in the shadows of the room, and then as they step back out into that little bit of moonlight, become apparent, and then transparent, and then opaque again, kind of flitting in and out of your vision as they walk across the room, and the waning night looks up to you. Tell me, how does the throne feel, my prime?
It's colder than I remember.
Yes.
Are we all that's left?
We are the last. Do you miss it?
I miss the feeling of belonging, but I don't think I was home long enough to miss home. I miss this, and Nyx is going to extend a hand out into like one of the beams of moonlight that's coming through. I miss the waves on the shore and my family, my people. It's the way the moonlight and night feels here. Is there anything left to fight for?
That depends on what is important to you.
I think Nyx is going to stand from their throne and walk towards Waning Night and almost past them to go out towards one of the balconies there, extend out into the sea. And just give a simple teach me.
Nyx, as you do this in your dream, almost walking through the waning night, he simply turns to watch you exit the room and head out onto the balcony. The ocean crashing far below. You hear a song, an almost siren-like voice that can just be heard above the waves, but goes with the rhythm of them crashing on the shore far below. And even in the dream, you realize you recognize the song because you heard it in a different voice earlier today. But it is the same song that Perrin was singing. And from somewhere down in the darkness of the rocks below, you hear that song echoing up almost from the water itself. And then, interrupting that song, far across the ocean, from a land you can't see, you hear that same horn that everyone else hears. And even in the moment, you know that everyone else is hearing the sound in their dreams, haunting as it pulls to you. And you can hear the waning night now standing just behind you. You must decide, Prime, who you are and what you will fight for. The Nightlands will always be here. They won't.
And Nyx wakes up.
All of you are now awake, realizing that Perrin did not wake any of you for watch. Perrin, as everyone is waking up, you're kind of like coming back from that little grove near the campsite, and you, in that last little minute before sunrise, not in a dream, hear that horn, that sound echoing out from the hills of Sul'Asa. Give me a nature or an arcana check, whichever one you want, with advantage.
Let's go nature 22.
On a 22.
A 13 on Arcana at first, and then rolled again with advantage and got a 21.
Okay. 21. Nyx, it's not going to be familiar to you. Perrin, what was your roll? Your total?
22?
22.
What I just said?
Yeah. For nature check, you recognize the sound. You recognize the sound because not only have you met before or encountered a creature that makes it, it is also a sound in the Feywilds known to it's the call of the Wallachria. And as it echoes through this place, it's different. Not just because you're not in the Feywild and it feels different in the space, but because there's just, it's like something mimicking the cry. But this is also a cry that anyone in the in the Feywild would know, the Wallachria can summon people. It's almost like a hunting call that the Wallachria gives out. And it is as plain to hear in dreams as it is in the waking hours. But you're all awake now.
Did that sound appear to come from the same direction we're headed?
Yes.
Okay, figured as much.
Was that also the like horn sound
Yes.
that woke everybody up? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have to keep moving. No hot breakfast today. Grab something and let's go.
Yeah, Atticus isn't even eating. If anyone pays attention to him, you notice his face is cleanly shaven. No mustache anymore.
I think we would all notice.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna open my notebook up and make a note.
War face. Okay.
Perrin
You
has
had
also shaved off his goatee. I'm just kidding. Just would have been a really funny reveal.
It's been there the whole time. Perrin, it's a new day. Give me another survival check to track with advantage because of Amos.
24.
24. As you, over the next couple hours, continue to follow the tracks further north into the west, following the line of Sul'Asa where it meets the Unbroken Green, Perrin, you can see that Fauna's pace is slowing, still faster than yours, and a lot of distance was put in between the party and her. Just in those first, it actually doesn't really look like she stopped to sleep for the night. At this point, you would guess, at least a couple days ahead of you, if the pace continues.
Yeah, I think Perrin's pushing pretty hard too, so I think everyone in the party would notice. Like we've traveled before. He's not stopping for rest breaks. He's pushing pretty hard. He's frequently getting out in front of the party by far enough that he's having to stop and anxiously wait for people to catch up. And then he's pushing on again.
With the way we're traveling, would Atticus know we are near the Legrand house?
Yes. Yeah, you would for sure. Cletus has also, Perrin, your survival checks have been high enough that you've been leading, but anyone that's known, Cletus is, and I'm almost doing backup work on your tracking checks. Atticus, you've known Cletus the longest, so you would perhaps be aware of it more than anyone else in the party, but Cletus is not his accustomed self. There's no laid back mood. There's no casual chat with whoever he happens to be walking next to. Cletus is in almost a fervor tracking, and at times will even not disappear from sight, but go out to survey and then quickly come back to the party. They are keeping they don't want to toe a line of making it look like they're behaving suspiciously. They don't want to do anything that alarms you, Atticus, in their behavior, but they are also, you can tell, desperate to try and help track down Fauna.
Cletus.
Yeah.
I need to know what your timeline looked like leading up to us meeting again.
Atticus, ever since last night, I've been trying to piece together. You know, before, it just kind of seemed like something that was easy to gloss over. I didn't sense any missing parts or any. But now, the more I think on it, Atticus, I remember the fight in St. Florian. I remember being struck down. But I don't really remember waking up. I just remember being here in this place in Sul'Asa, close to home, but I guess for some reason I didn't go home, and I'm trying to remember, but I can't remember the last time I was home. I can't remember the faces of my family. I just know, there's a lot of small villages here near Sul'Asa. I found signs of that cult, those, whatever they're calling themselves, those devotees of. And you can see as he goes to say the name Atticus, it's hard for him to get it out. Ochran. I got on their trail and I didn't stop till I had a mile going. And then I found you, and there was a feeling, Atticus, a feeling like, it was so good to see you, and I felt like I hadn't seen you in so long, but there was something else, Atticus. Like I'd satisfied some kind of deep urge. It's like something brought me to you.
Well, those markings you have on her back, we're connected. More than I thought we were as kids, but I think the only thing I can think of that might lead to answers is going to your village and seeing what your shamans in your village have to say.
Going home.
Maybe they can figure it out.
Okay.
Atticus can see that Cletus is head down, and Atticus is gonna reach and tilt his head up and look him in the eyes and be like, "You're still my best friend. I still trust you."
Atticus. Atticus, we have to find Fauna. I don't know. I don't know what's connected and what isn't at this point. This doesn't seem like we have to find her. I promised I would protect her, and Atticus, in the first moment it would have mattered. I failed.
Yeah, well, this isn't the type of failure where it can't be rectified. We'll find her.
Listen, you gotta make me a promise. I'm all here now. I know I am. But whatever it is in me, whatever that pull is, whatever made me open the door, whatever led me to find you, Atticus, if it comes back, if you see it in me, you swear to me right now. You take me out.
I promise you I will give you a warrior's death.
Okay.
But let's not think about that right now. Like many mysteries, there's many solutions to this, and the harder it gets, I think the closer we're getting.
Yeah. I think we're still, about a day and a half out from my home, but there's a small village near here. I don't know. Fauna seems to be heading that direction too. I don't know what her plan is, but I do know we go there. Them's good folk. If they've seen anything, might be able to help us. I imagine anything large coming through the area like that, they'd be aware of it.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's just follow Perrin's lead for now and figure
Up
out.
ahead, Perrin calls back. There's a bridge up here. We gotta cross it.
Atticus is stone-faced.
That was a good one.
That would usually get Atticus. Atticus has no reaction to that joke.
You're all continuing to make your way through the foothills of Sul'Asa. Think about mid-afternoon, continuing to follow the tracks. Perrin, Amos comes back to you, and through a very complex sort of series of... It's strange because you have your memories of Orchestris back. Everything is the way that it was before you made your bargain, except for Amos. She doesn't speak. There's that intelligence to her communicate, the same way that you would sort of speak with any animal by reading its behavior and using your insight to almost pull words out of its body language. She doesn't speak. And as you kind of make your way over this little rise in the green, you see down below you there is a small village, probably just about 10 minutes away.
I think Perrin is on site gonna almost adjust to a tactical approach. He's gonna wave everyone to cover, and he's gonna kind of scooch forward and just watch for a few minutes. See if there's anything that looks out of the ordinary.
Cool. Give me a perception check.
Dude, 18.
Okay. On an 18, you're looking down at the village, probably not more than 152, very small. Most of the dwellings here are very druidic in nature. They're almost built into a lot of the hillsides and things like that, to where the roof just is the ground coming out, and then there's little support columns that have been built, but just kind of these homes that are tucked and dug away back into the hills. You see Goliaths, hill giants coming and going seems to just be an ordinary village out here in Sul'Asa. I think the few places that you've gone in the South Green and in Sul'Asa, you've seen spots like this before. Most of them are either, it's not a lot of when it's a small village like this, you don't need large farms. So there are small gardens and patches of grain and almost more actually like seeded grass here. But a lot of these hill giants are herders too. And so you see livestock nearby, sheep, things like that. You don't see anything out of the ordinary.
In a low murmur, crouched up between Perrin and Atticus and kind of like following Perrin's lead, and everybody just hunkering down, having cover for a second. Do we know this place? Recognize it?
It's just a tiny hill giant village. They're all scattered throughout Sul'Asa. It's not a notable one, just small community.
How do they feel about visitors?
I'm gonna look over to
Yeah,
Cletus.
Cletus is standing there with you. I mean, we tend to be a more private folk, but hospitable enough. Travelers are coming through. We might not share a lot of our secrets or beliefs, but we'll certainly share a meal, a place to stay. I mean, with you, if they've seen anything, they'll be forthright about it.
What's the move then? We're skirting around or going in to ask for information?
Perrin's just gonna survey the hills again and shrug, because I think to him it looks like the path that they're following, the track they're following is basically leading to this town. This is a hilly area, so presumably the tracks are following where transit is easy, and that's through this kind of like Inset Valley village. He's
I
gonna
also hate
shrug
to
and say,
ask Perrin, but I mean, we're not really dealing with much of fauna right now. And it seems like you know what kind of creature she's shifted into. Maybe her behaviors. Why is she coming here? Most creatures, most animals in her position would avoid civilization.
she's not an animal.
I know she's not.
She's scared and she's hurt. That doesn't make her an animal.
She is not an animal. I'm only saying that she is also not thinking like herself right now. She is going off of instinct, and I am wondering why her instinct is leading her here. Maybe if we can figure that out, we can find her faster. Maybe we can figure out where she's heading.
All right. So we ask if anyone's seen anything. We ask and see what's around here. See if there's anything that might make sense. Okay. All right. Everybody
Cletus.
go in, ask some questions, find out what you can.
Probably be best if you're up front. Good if they see a friendly face, or at least one that looks like their own.
No, absolutely.
And Nyx is going to look towards Atticus with a silent communication of, and you better watch his back.
Yeah, Atticus is right by Cletus' side.
You all head down into the village. Kind of speaking in, just so I don't get this wrong, I can't remember if I believe I, but the term, I don't know if we've gone over a lot of this lore, the term in Giant for these people, they kind of have their own sub-dialect too of Giant, but they are known as Othka. And so in that language, it is makes introductions. The first person he goes up to definitely looks to be some kind of herder, is probably, you see now for the first time, Cletus Atticus is like your size. You see how truly small that is for a hill giant, as even the average ones here are a good like 1.5 to 2 feet taller than Cletus. Much more broad, much more muscled, but you see what looks to be like dark green skin, of just a face lined with many years spent in the sun, herding animals. Kind of just wears hide, and you can see matted grass like woven into straps and belts to keep the hides up. But they speak. Cletus returns to you. Yeah, I mean, he speaks common, a couple here do, but most of them are simple folk. I can try and get what information I can out of anyone. He said he's willing to kind of go through and ask if anyone said. Probably though. Well, I'll just let you hear it from him. And that larger hill giant is going to walk over to all of you. It gives you all a curt nod. And is Atticus at the head of this, or is Perrin? So he's kind of looking around as to who to address.
I think because was being deferred to, Perrin gravitates away. He pointedly is not looking at Cletus when Cletus speaks. So he's probably drifted to the back of the pack.
Yeah, I'll be there, and I'll say in Giant, like, if you know Common, you can speak it, but if it's more comfortable for you to speak in your native dialect, then I'll translate.
I also very fondly speak Giant and understand Giant now.
No way!
I became a rune knight, so I am not letting that be
Vox
known
is a
that I
fast student. He is going to speak to all of you in common. I speak so you understand. The small Legrand tells me you're a phoenix.
That is correct, yes.
Been a long time since we've seen a phoenix around here.
I apologize for that.
The smaller grain, you tell me you're looking for a friend. Maybe now a creature come through these parts in the last day or two.
Yes.
Well, ain't seen no creature, but we missing a flock. Several herders from the village. They'll go out. Supposed to be back by sunset last night. Ain't seen them. Not in their usual spot.
And what are their usual spots?
About an hour north of here,
further into the hills.
Any disturbances found in those areas, or anything out of the ordinary?
Ain't seen anyone to look yet. We're just putting together a party now. Don't suppose you'd be interested in coming along, seeing if maybe our problem is your problem too.
Yeah, that would be of great interest to us.
We're leaving the hour. You're welcome to look around.
Gives you a nod and walks away.
It's a start, I guess.
Yeah. Vox, give me a perception check.
16.
Okay, cool. On a 16, earlier, when you were up on the hill descending down to the village, I think you are the only one whose focus would be your awareness. While, of course, you have concern for Fauna, you know that Perrin tracking is on the right trail. You know that Cletus is there backing everything up. As any, I think, person of your talents and abilities would do in a position like this, you're doing a good job keeping an eye on your surroundings and their perimeter. You know other people's focuses are elsewhere, but it's important that you stay safe out here too. This is unfamiliar territory to you and at least 2 other members of the party. From that, section, you look over and you see, it's strange. It's notable only because I won't use the word monotonous, the way that these hills extend into the horizon, because they're beautiful, all of different sizes. They're lush and green. There are a variety of wildflowers. You're far enough down south now that cold seasons really don't come here. And it's why things grow so much. But breaking up the monotony of those rising green hills, you see one in the far distance. It's strange. It has a lot of the same coloration as the other hills, so you would imagine, if you got close enough or you were walking on it, it'd be the same kind of vegetation. But there's some changes, almost as if recently there's been a landslide on it or something. You see patches of earth that are sort of revealed in different ways, and it does change the coloration on the face of this hill in the distance. It just kind of breaks up the horizon. That's what you get on a 16. You're all down in the village. You've got, under an hour until the search party for their lost herd and shepherds departs. I think we'll, yeah.
Oh. Never mind. Okay. Nyx is gonna go up to Vox as we're all just waiting. So I've been thinking about our options and what we found in that library. The research, there isn't a whole lot else to do but think and walk lately. I know it's not quite the time to introduce it to everyone else. We've got bigger problems to worry about, but I at least wanted to sound something off of you. The simulacrum that kept getting mentioned, the copy of a body or a soul or whatever Samuel was.
That one.
Yeah. What if we somehow found a way to make that, but as a copy for Bert or Atlas? So then we could put one of the souls into that, if it's even possible. I don't know. It might be completely junk magic or entirely theoretical, but if the problem is they're both trapped inside, then if we gave them another outlet.
You're talking about making another body or finding another body. I think that's a conversation that we'd have to have with Atticus first.
I agree.
Talking about
certainly
splitting
before any
his
actions
child
are happened.
And is it... it's hard to think about all of that right now. There's just so many things happening. And even if that were going to be an option, we really need to just find our magic user to do that.
Oh, I know. Future
But
problem.
let's worry about finding her and seeing if we could even get her back.
We can. We will. We have to.
I hope so. For everyone's sake right now.
We will. We will. Next is just gonna walk away.
Yeah, Vox is very not, just kind of soaking everything in and very nonchalant and quietly just standing and watching everything unfold around her, trying to figure out what problems they can control.
Unless anyone has anything else that they're kind of intentionally doing in the village before the search party sets out, we'll probably take our little 10-minute break right now, and then we'll be back. We'll be back in 10.
That works.
Awesome. Let's go to break.
Reconnect to the Zoom.
I can do it. Did you say yes? Okay, cool. And we are back. Unless anyone else has anything they want to do in the village, that search party is at the, like, towards the end of the hour. It's later in the afternoon now. But that search party heads out.
Yeah, Atticus follows suit. Yeah.
I
Cool.
don't think Nick's gonna do anything in the village, but at some point they would like to drift in next to Atticus and well, I'll wait till he returns, but yes, we can head out.
There he be.
There he be.
I think Perrin is just going to keep an eye out for signs that we're at least broadly going in the right direction.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's going to be
Vox is
real impatient.
gonna stand next to Perrin and point out what she noticed about that mountain range.
Cool.
I think
at
might
this-
be the best
Yeah.
bet.
At this point, you point in the direction of that, you are kind of generally headed in the direction of that range that you saw earlier, Vox. You're in a valley right now, though, so you don't really have a visual of it. You know, it was a ways in the distance. As you are all headed towards you are still pretty much following the tracks, Perrin. So you are on par for the course, heading to the spot where they're heading. Also looks like it is where you're heading for now. And the closer you get, the more it seems like perhaps your problems really are intertwined. You're about almost an hour, so you've almost reached the spot. Everyone give me perception checks.
18.
Nat 20 plus 9.
29.
9.
20, 9.
Just a nine.
Sunday.
Sunday.
God, I need to have like a little sound effect cue set up for when everyone gets a nat 20. This just so it's like the Pavlovian reward for
I got
that,
a
an
7.
air. Hey, I'll tell you right now, an
Easy
air
lovers
horn,
can't
not a
lose.
reward. Not a
Never.
rewarding sound.
Where is it?
Okay. It's other than Perrin's nat 20, did anyone get above 20? I missed if someone did. I know Atticus was an 18. Okay. And then Atticus, you're above a 15. And then Nick's, tell me one more time what was yours.
Just a 9.
Okay. And then did Vox get over a 15?
I did. I got a 17.
Okay, cool. Vox and Atticus, it's very subtle, but over this 45 minutes, you don't notice, visually there's not necessarily anything of interest. You can tell that you still are on the right track for your goals, as well as the search party from the village. The search party is about, you're like half a dozen hill giants are headed with you. Most of them they kind of have that like herder or druidic look about them. They're carrying simple weapons, not really wearing armor. There's a couple that scout ahead and then, every 5 minutes or so return back to the rest of the party. Still no sign of the herd that they've lost. Which actually the herd you are sort of able to gather, I think, between Vox and Atticus, because you both speak to it, you're sort of able to gather that it was a herd of Achka, actually, that they lost. So those little terrestrial and aquatic axolotl creatures that you had hitched to your wagons. Um, with Vox and Atticus, on those perception checks, there are a couple points where it's hard to tell for sure, but it almost seems like you feel vibrations in the ground. Doesn't last for more than a moment. Pretty quickly goes away, but maybe no one's spotted the herd yet. They haven't really said how large the herd is, so maybe you think, when it happens, it seems like maybe the herd is close, but then it goes away pretty quickly, and those scouts that are going ahead return back, and there's still no sign. Perrin, on a nat 20, you feel these tremors happening almost from the very beginning that you set out. Incredibly, incredibly subtle, but you feel them. Start, and they stop, and like a pattern, almost like the regular rhythm of how someone might take measured strides, or it's strange, but it feels almost like on that nat 20, it's odd because it doesn't feel like an earthquake. It doesn't feel like tremors. It doesn't feel like aftershocks. There's something happening and it's not a herd. A herd would be like random, scattered. There'd be a rhythm to it, but like if these things are running wild and they're nearby and that's causing these, it wouldn't be what it is. Because what it is feels like something deep, deep beneath the ground, burrowing. But that would be impossible because these tremors they're not just underneath, like you can almost feel it spread out over an enormous distance. All of you are starting to come to the rise of the next hill, on which you'll be able to view where the herd was supposed to be. As you are coming to the top of this hill, I need everyone to make me a dexterity saving throw real quick.
$28 for Perrin.
Okay.
Adding a point. Rolled the exact same thing, 9.
Okay.
I get to add bless with my armor, correct?
You do. Yep, a D4.
Uh, 24. So 18 plus 2 plus 4.
Okay. Anyone who got above a 10, you remain on your feet. Anyone who got less than a 10, a quake ripples through the ground underneath you. Not enough that you see cracks, no chasms open up, but you can almost see the earth move beneath your feet as it begins to violently shake. And just like those vibrations earlier, this happens for almost exactly the same amount of time and then suddenly comes to a stop.
Yeah, that's enough for Perrin. Perrin's gonna shove forward to the giant who spoke common, and he's gonna get his attention. And you, this is beyond your people. You need to stay back. It's not safe.
The old giant looks to you and then out over the hills in the distance, narrowing his eyes.
It's a bad, bad thing.
Yeah.
We must warn other villages.
Perrin kind of nods and claps him on the elbow or whatever joint he can reach.
Yeah, clap up to the elbow. Yeah, probably.
He hops up and claps him on the elbow. Yeah, you should do that. Stay safe, travel light, keep an eye on each other.
If it is what we think it is, dangerous for everyone, I wouldn't stay here if I were you.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have to be.
Okay.
You see, turns, says a couple words in giant to the others, and they quickly make a retreat. The rest of your Nyx, when that tremor happened, you fell to the ground. Yeah, I mean, you certainly have time to pick yourself back up. The tremors have ceased now. Vox, you're at the crest of the hill there with Perrin, and I think I'm going to make you make a perception check for this.
She will roll in just a second. We're dealing with rowdy dogs right now.
I'm not going to actually have you make a perception check for this. It's just going to be two things that you notice. One is that after this this quake that just happened, the sound of animals, insects, whatever else is out there in Sul'Asa, it's all gone quiet. You look to the sky and you can see flocks of birds in the distance that have taken flight and are actively flying, to the east, to the west, anywhere but here. And as you look out, you notice something is missing. The enormous hill that you had seen earlier with the variations on it, it's just gone. And in its place, you see freshly overturned earth. There's still green in it, still vegetation, but something has churned through this space. And the hill is no longer there. I just, again, to give you an idea of the scale, like what you're looking at is probably like a couple miles at least in the distance. And it was massive when it was there. So the scar that is left now in the land is just as massive.
2 weeks.
Voxes just kind of look over Perrin and Atticus, and
Is this
this
ringing a bell for Atticus?
is this how things happen?
Atticus, if you're looking out, go ahead and give me a perception check.
What were you saying, Vox?
Is this what happens to the land out here in the south?
Things get a little bucky wucky out here. 19 on perception.
Okay. On a 19, Atticus, you look out. You look out, and immediately your eyes fall on that same scar in the land in the distance. And everything begins to register at once. The small tremor that you felt earlier, that massive one now that just knocked Nyx off their feet. You've felt and seen things like this before. The child of the Asanoth, the enormous earth serpent that you encountered as a child, you put an end to that some time ago. It was shortly before you reclaimed your sword from the interior of that massive creature with the help of the Ligurian family. It was shortly before you met a young, I think we said a 5-year-old Cletus. You've encountered, or you did encounter that thing a couple times. The first time you encountered it, it killed you as a child, and that was your first resurrection. The second time you encountered it, you finished it off.
So we're going for the trilogy, y'all. Third.
What you are looking at now, the scar that this thing is made in the land, it far surpasses the size of the one that you fought. It is the difference between an earthworm and a boa constrictor. Give me a history check with advantage.
It's bad on both. 11.
You've been around a long time, Atticus. 1,000 years. 1001. Seeing it was just your birthday. These enormous earth serpents, known as the children of the Yes, the one that you encountered was the last one. You know, it would turn up every few hundred years. A rarity for sure. They tend to slumber in the earth for long periods of time, which is good because the destruction that they wreak is unimaginable. But they're always called the children of the Asanoth because in legend there is a mother. There is a Yasanoth. But no one has seen it for millennia, which is why it has become nothing but legend. You can't think of anything else that would be this big.
So,
y'all know about the children of the Asinov, any story that's familiar to you?
no, I was really hoping I was accidentally tripping on something that I got in contact with in that village, and I'm not just seeing an entire hill that's gone.
Yeah, I feel like there used to be a mountain there, and there's not a mountain there no more. And should we be worried?
Yes.
Thinking that face means we should be worried.
Moving mountains ain't no thing to the South Green.
We need to find Fauna now.
Perrin, I also want you to give me a perception check.
Uh, 25. Expertise.
Perrin, you were seeing the same thing that everyone else is seeing. Your experience, I think, in the Feywilds with elementals, this goes beyond anything that you've ever seen. You've dealt with earth elementals, you've dealt with nothing even a fraction of this size. Truly, it is a colossus beyond belief. And then your eye catches on something much smaller. You see a spot on the ground nearby. Some sharp stones jut out. And you see Fauna's tracks. You can see where she fell. Perhaps because she was standing up and not on all fours. Most likely because of the tremors that have been happening. So it does tell you that probably within the last few hours, Fauna has been in this space. But you can see they fell. And on these little collection of sharp rocks that stick up, you see what looks to be dried blood. Not a lot, nothing alarming, but enough that there's a few drips that go down into you see the trails running into the ground below. And there, growing out of the ground, in a place that you would not expect, you see some of the same small, they're just little, not even saplings yet, just little sprouts, just little seedlings. But that same tree that you found in the Evewood so long ago, when you were pulled to it by Balak's command, and you opened the door in it that brought the curse, a fey tree that should not exist on this plane. You see little sprouts of it coming up where the blood hit the earth.
Yeah, I think he just kind of files that away in things Perrin doesn't want to think about right now. And he's gonna scan the hillside and try to figure out a way through or around. And then he kind of shakes his head and looks at Atticus. This is a stupid idea, but I think we have to kill that. I think we have to kill it to protect the people around here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we could just leave, but I don't think we should do that.
How do we kill something that moves mountains?
I've only fought the offsprings, if my suspicions are
You
true.
did what?
Yeah, it killed me though once, so I think we're square. Yeah, they're. Yeah.
There it be.
Atticus kind of like puts his hand in the like on the ground and just kind of tries to like. I mean, Atticus. I feel like maybe they've learned a thing or two, so they're like putting their hand on the ground to kind of feel the if there's a vibration coming or
For sure. Yeah, give me a
anything.
survival check.
And while he's doing this, Atticus looks at Nix and is like, "Yeah, I've tangled with. They're much smaller. I mean, it's like comparing a bootlace to like the chains of a drawbridge, you know."
A bigger bootlace. Oh, yeah, no, that makes more sense.
Every time I think you can't
that-
get more impressive.
That's 18 for survival.
Okay. On an 18, you don't feel it moving at the moment. You can't think back to the other, like the smaller one that you fought, the child. The effort for them to move through, like they do it very little, and it's almost like strokes like swimming. They don't there it's not like a constant movement where it just like tunnels, and it will generally tend to move like, you know, over the course of a day from a new spot to another spot where it can like hopefully feed, you know, passes a lot of vegetation, a lot of excuse the similarities in ideas, but a lot of flora and fauna passes through this thing's maw in order for it to feed. But it doesn't move fast. So even with its massive size, it's not hard to catch up to. You think that if, you know, you see that enormous, where it is like submerged again from where it was, you were probably just seeing a portion of its body there, and that's what the hill was. It is gone back into the ground again, and it will probably move soon, but even then it's a large enough body, like it's not going to be hard to catch up to this thing. And it's, you know, within at least the spot where it went back down, that part of its body is about an hour away.
Yeah, they typically move slow and not hard distances. I mean, if we head to where that mountain was, we're probably an hour out, and we'll find some portion of its body there if it didn't burrow completely.
I feel like if only there was a way for us to like burrow in the earth in a fast fashion. Like if only there was someone here who could tunnel magically as like a go-to move.
So convenient.
That'd be very handy.
Very unfortunate. Perrin, I want you to give me a... Ooh, I think this is a survival check and not a nature check. And because the survival is about something that is an elemental, I think you get to do with advantage, right? Is your survival checks with advantage against your favorite enemy? Yeah.
Dirty 20.
Okay. That's definitely high enough. You connect the dots suddenly, Perrin. Like, I mean, Atticus, he related what he did about the Asenoth if something this old has woken up after all this time, Perrin, you know that with creatures like this, there's almost always a reason. And it's very rarely, a lot of people, tend to put too much stock in things like prophecies, or foretelling when a certain creature might awake. And then when someone happens to get it right, the credit goes to the prophecy instead of what you have always found to be like very naturally triggering events that cause something this old and this dormant to rise again. For Fae Flora to be here on this plane, in this realm, is something incredibly disturbing for nature. It is upsetting to the balance, and whether this thing cannot survive for long because it's not of this plane, or whether it happens to find something in the mortal realm that it can feed off of and becomes some kind of extraplanar invasive species, these little seedlings being here is an absolute upset. Even a creature that is like bleeding Fey magic like that, not just in their actual blood, but in their presence, is enough to wake the earth up underneath their feet. This thing, if it is what you think it is, above all, it wants to maintain that balance. And so if something woke it up, it's going to go straight for the source to try and restore balance.
Yeah, he's gonna kind of glance at Atticus, glance at everyone. Fauna's here. That thing's going after her. We need to move quick.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So just to be clear, we're killing this thing?
Unless you've got a better idea.
Certainly don't. I mean, I don't.
You're sitting there discussing this on the
Can kill
hill.
it.
Cletus is already running like a dead sprint down this hill.
Can't we follow it if it's going to her?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'd rather reach her before it does.
Yeah. Enough said. And Nyx
Atticus
is
has
gonna
already taken off,
hike
too.
up the pack and head down the hill.
Everyone's running down the hill.
You are all running down the hill.
Definitely muttering, first it's fell spirit, and now fucking this.
Yeah, not much worse. Let me find what I'm looking for real quick. Okay. The way that we're going to do the way that we're going to do the next little bit of play is going to work like this. I think I'm going to ad-lib this real quick on the fly. As you start to get closer, that scar in the land is about an hour away, but as you start to draw closer, now rhythmically, like I would say every probably 5 minutes, another one of those quakes happens. And so you are getting closer and closer, but these quakes are getting stronger and stronger every time they happen, and this thing moves. For the first half of this run, I'm going to be keeping track. We're going to do basically rounds of dexterity saving throws. Or actually saving throws, or actually for this first part, we're going to make these specifically acrobatics checks to remain on your feet for this first half. That is going to have an impact on when you are able to show up, like how long it takes you to get to this thing. For the second half of what's happening, those acrobatics checks are going to turn into dexterity saving throws, as a lot of that earth begins to like collapse and slide in around you every time this thing shifts. And the dexterity saving throws will be to avoid taking damage as well as remaining on your feet. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go through and do 3 rounds of acrobatics checks. So just do them one at a time, and we'll go around, and I'm just going to take everyone's in alphabetical order. I would tell you that you're trying to make sure you get above a 10. If you can get a 15 or above, it's much better. If you are able to get a 20 or above on your athletics check or on your acrobatics check, I will allow you to give advantage to someone else in a round.
Well, that's good.
Somebody gets advantage.
Q has plus 11, so
Okay, let me,
rolled a 22.
because it's kind of like I have stuff to keep track of, so
rolled
let
a
me write
27.
everything down real quick. Next. Okay, so Vox, you are gonna sorry, Atticus, what was your roll?
22.
22. So that both Atticus and Vox, you through this first brush, you're able to stay on your feet, and you can also give advantage to one of the so both
I already
Nyx
rolled
and
my
Nick-
3 rolls and passed all of them. Should I take an advantage and hope I get a nat 20 or something?
my advantage roll was 26.
Okay, 26. So don't, whatever those second 2 rolls were, don't count those for Nyx, because we'll do them each one at a time. So for that first roll,
Dirty 20.
you can now roll. Okay, cool. Everyone through this first quake.
I give my advantage to Bert.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh God, you're right. I do.
yeah.
I need to roll for Bert and Cletus. Thank you. I'm
Can
gonna
I
put
actually just throw
them.
Bert on my shoulder? I'll make an athletics check for that.
Ooh,
but-
yeah. Make me an athletic. In order to
We're
not
a very
take.
dexterity-based party.
Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna say, Atticus. In order. You can take Bert. You're going to roll your acrobatics checks with disadvantage if you're carrying Bert, unless you can get a 20 or higher on your athletics check.
But I could give
Okay,
you
gang.
advantage. I've got a plus 11. Let's go.
Okay, gang. I have a plus 8 to athletics, so
So you just need to roll a 12 or higher to not take disadvantage on your acrobatics
Oh.
checks.
I rolled a 15. So
yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're going to be still rolling in flat. Bert will not have to do this. Cletus is going to have to still do it. I'm going to roll for Cletus right now.
As we're like racing
Cletus
down
is
the
good.
hill,
Cletus got like a 24.
Nyx is gonna shout to Atticus, so how'd you kill this thing?
while Atticus is watching his step running down the hill, I'm just like I kill everything. I chopped it to bits.
Pointy end first.
Isn't it a mountain? Or does it eat mountains? I don't know.
This
I'm
was
so
more-
confused.
The kid was more like like a hill, like a not even a hill, like a dirt pile in comparison.
The wordsmith speaks again.
I should have been a bard.
So just stab it and hope we're lucky. Got it.
That's how you kill everything. Just stab it until it stops stabbing you back.
Wise words. Everyone, go ahead and make that second round of acrobatics checks.
15. I'm
Okay.
gonna wait and see if I get advantage from somebody.
13.
28.
22.
Oof.
Oh my God.
We'll give.
I mean, you really don't like. I'm gonna roll for Cletus right now, but right now you're all, because 10 is not falling down, and 15 is like the good passing for getting there quick. So right now everyone's above that, even without being given advantage.
Atticus isn't, so you should
Oh,
take
okay.
advantage.
I rolled a 13.
Yeah. So I think Vox had an advantage to give you. Cletus makes it. Cletus is over 15.
I get it. Okay.
I gave you advantage.
Yeah, that's 20, dirty 20.
Whew, okay.
Advantage.
Everyone passes it again. As the earth begins to shake around you more and more violently, you all stay on your feet. Atticus, Bert is sort of like just sitting on your shoulders, like trying not to like put his hands over your eyes as he just kind of holds on to the back of the collar of your armor. Cletus passed too.
I wish
okay.
he was small enough still to make when I did a baby Bjorn for him.
I know. Everyone go ahead and give me that final round of acrobatics checks.
That's a nat 20.
I got
12.
another dirty 20.
All right, I'm taking one of those advantages.
19.
31.
20.
2 nat 20s?
Oh,
31.
Christ.
So Q passed 3 times.
yeah.
Everyone passed.
Hold on. So that was a nat 20 for Vox. Did I hear did Nyx get a nat 20 on their advantage too? Okay. So in this last, before it switches to dexterity saving throws, and it's still just acrobatics checks, so there's no damage at stake, you are all weaving your way through essentially the landslide that's happening underneath your feet now. Like a leaf in the wind. As you, like, Vox and Nyx, as it begins to pick up and boulders, like, that hundreds of pounds begin to just slide by you, half submerged in the ground, you get to the point now where it's almost like you're showing off, if it wasn't so natural, where you are like running up the peaks of these things. Tell me what it looks like for both of you as you're kind of doing this like almost side by side, as everyone else is sort of channeling their way through the center of it too.
I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Q, without having any context for it, it's almost a match of their alternate versions, but like they're competing with each other and like trying to outdo each other a little bit, but are only syncing up more and more as like our abilities match each other perfectly.
Like a race, but totally in sync. Like there is no winner. We're like jumping over stuff and just gliding past it.
There's a particular moment where both of you end up, I think, just vaulting over these two boulders at the same time, side by side, and it has to be in slow motion right now as it happens. In this moment, you see a portion of the Yasinov, this ancient primordial earth serpent. You see a small section of it. If you didn't know any better, it just looks like more of the ground itself is moving, because the skin of this thing really is, it's covered in rocks and plants and moss. It is if
Hi, by the way, Raiders.
As if the
Well, that
earth
was such a long
itself
time ago.
had come alive around you. I'm going to allow both of you to make attack rolls with advantage right now with any ranged options that you might have, as you just get a little glimpse of this thing as it slides above the ground for a second as you're both in the air.
Any ranged option?
Any ranged option.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Nyx's trusty guiding bolt. They're feeling themselves, so I am gonna upcast it. You said with advantage.
With advantage.
Perfect.
I got a dirty 20
Cool.
for Daybreak, my bow.
Cool. Dirty 20 hits.
Does this constitute as a surprise?
Yeah.
I
does.
added favored by the gods to that, so
Cool.
it's also a dirty 20.
Definitely hits.
That's a sneak attack too.
Yep. It's going to automatically land as a critical.
Yeah, let's
Perfect.
go.
And remind me again, that means just roll all the damage dice twice.
Yes.
And we are getting sneak attack.
Yes.
Perfect.
Six, 7, 13.
Perrin, while they're totaling up damage, you said you got a 31 on your acrobatics?
No, 21.
21. Okay.
Did I?
I thought you did, but maybe it
I
was
got a
just a 21.
31.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
That was cute. Big
Because I got
Okay.
the nat 20
Yeah.
plus 11, yeah.
I want to flavor it like this anyway because of how much stake you have in this Perrin and how, in fact, both you and Atticus, like, is Atticus, you got above a 20 on this last one too, right? Or did you get a, yeah.
28.
Both of you, like, as Vox and Nyx make these attacks like mid-air coming in, you are running through the center, Vox and Nyx on either side, Cletus a few steps ahead of either of you, but both of you realize that the ground that you're running on now is not ground anymore, and I will allow both of you to each make an attack as well.
I
Sick.
did 49 points of damage.
Okay.
Can I can I throw Cletus's knives and still attack, or do I need to choose?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, cool.
I did 46. Am I able to meta magic firebolt onto that as well?
Ooh, to do for twin spell?
Yes. Well, not twinned, quickened.
Quicken.
I could do twinned.
Yes,
Easy love
quick.
is
Yeah,
can't
quicken
use.
because it's
Yeah.
cantrip and yeah, totally.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
And I think you get to roll that one with advantage too because you hit with guiding bolt, which gives your next attack advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Am I rolling this as just a normal round of combat?
Just
Can
a
I have
single.
Amos do something too?
Amos can
What's that?
definitely do something. Just a single attack for this one, so you don't get all your attacks that you usually get in a round of combat. But I will allow Amos to do something as well.
Cool. I rolled a nat 20.
What the fuck?
That's why if I just say easy lovers can't
Oh
lose.
my
that
God.
means
Easy lovers can't lose.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, roll critical damage for this.
Nice. I got a 24 with advantage.
Okay. That also hits. So it's all of your so it's I at this point because of your level I think it's doubled. It's like 4d10 for the firebolt or something. Plus the
Can you
guiding
describe
bolt.
the surface of this creature again?
Yeah, what you're looking at is if it wasn't moving in a different direction than the landslide around you, like it would almost be hard to tell that it's not just the ground, but it is, because for a moment as it's part of its skin breaks the surface, there is a slightly different color. Looks like almost like a richer clay would look, maybe something that's like if you dug 10 feet down into the ground or in here, there's kind of this
A nice
reddish hue to it.
terracotta.
But yeah, nice terracotta, but it is also covered, with there's moss, there's plants growing out of like what you
Right,
see
but
as
we would
cracks.
call
They're
this
most likely
effectively
chinks.
stone. It's a stone
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah.
Okay, so Amos casts. Go ahead, say your damage.
40 damage.
Jeez.
61 total.
So Amos cast Shatter, which is a sudden loud ringing noise, painfully intense, erupts from a point of your choosing. I'm gonna put that inside of the thing as much as I can.
Yeah.
Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere must make a Constitution saving throw. Failed save is 3d8 thunder damage, except I think we're actually an additional 1d8 now, so 4d8. A creature made of inorganic material such as stone has disadvantage on the saving throw.
That's right. Disadvantage.
You gotta know when Tyler is asking for specifics. Would you say this is stone? There's a reason. Would you say this
yeah.
is
Even with so the lowest die was a 12, and this thing is gonna have over 20 on that save. So I think it just takes it's gonna take half damage.
Easy levers may
48
this might be,
48
this might be a little
halved.
too much for us.
And then I'll roll my attack. It's 18 plus a bunch of stuff. 20.
Cool. It hits. So roll the damage for the
7.
shatter and for your attack.
Yeah.
without Tyler, without Perrin, and why did I just forget your bird's name? We've already done 151 damage to this thing. Go off, gang.
It's
Amos did
crazy.
21, halved down to 10, rounded down for 10.
Cool.
And 17 from Perrin.
Okay. I will tell you the big beautiful total on that is 177 points of damage in what doesn't even amount to a full round because Atticus and Perrin aren't getting their extra attacks.
Yeah.
Actually,
if allowed me a bonus action and my extra attack, I probably would have done 30 more damage.
Cletus did hit with one of his two. And I
Does
forget
Cletus
that
have his weapons?
they were Atticus tossed to him, yeah. And let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 7, and then 7 plus 19. Cletus also does 27 points of damage. So, I think.
May I also use a bonus action in all of that to cast Hunter's Mark? I don't want the damage. I just want the
You can
mark.
absolutely cast Hunter's Mark on this.
I didn't even roll the damage. I'm saying this is a post damage.
Yeah, you for sure marked this thing. I think it gets you with Cletus's damage, it's so close to 200 points. Okay, we're going to move to the second phase of this whole. You do this. The shatter, when Amos flits up to cast it down, and you feel that reverberate, and it is like almost like reverberating in a tunnel underneath you. You hear it echoing out almost underground. Even with all that damage, this thing doesn't slow down, and fairly quickly you see the surface of it, and the ground slides over top of it. We are now moving to the portion where we're going to do 3 rounds of everyone making dexterity saves to not take damage from the landslide that is happening as you continue to pursue this thing. And just in order to build, because I think this is pretty much the last thing that we're going to do in this session, in order to build tension, here's the way that we're going to do it. I'm going to ask each of you one by one for your dexterity saves. We're going to go in alphabetical order. I will tell you right now that the number that you are trying to beat, in order to take no damage, you will need to get hold on. We're going to say, in order
Are we
to
rolling
take,
once at a time or all 3?
I'm going to have you roll. Oh, why not? We'll go through and do all 3 at the same for each person. In order to take no damage, you will need to get at least a 15 or higher on your dexterity save. If you get a 10 or lower on your dexterity save, it is not an insignificant amount of damage that is being tossed around here, bludgeoning wise, just to let you know. So you're hoping to get a 15 or higher. You really don't want a 10 or lower.
Thank you, Bless.
And Atticus, make your 3 dexterity saves.
Okay. So 17 for the first one. 16 for the 16 for the second one.
Okay.
And then I get to add bless to this, right? I get to add bless as
Yes,
much as I
yeah,
want
you
with
do.
this armor, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Every time.
Oh, goddamn. That is going to be 10 on that last one.
Okay.
I hate that noise. I don't like it at all.
Atticus, you are going to take 25 points of bludgeoning damage as a massive boulder comes slamming into you, and you take a lot of that in your jaw. You feel something like crack a little bit. You're not sure if it's a tooth or the hinge of your jaw, but it hits you hard. Because that was low enough, I think I need you to make me an athletics check to hold on to Bert as well.
Okay.
Like Atticus, just go ahead.
Can I cast shield as a non-self spell?
I like letting people cast shield as a non-self with an arcana check, but shield wouldn't help because these are dexterity saves.
Okay.
Because shield would just raise
20
the armor class.
27 with athletics.
Atticus, you
Can
take
I just
that.
like pushed it over?
Yeah, you take that hit. For a moment, as like this rock hits you and a bunch of just kind of loose earth follows it, looking down at everyone that's looking at you, they just sort of see you disappear for a second, except for your arms raised and Bert just like being held up on top of those arms. And then in an instant, the land passes by. You are still standing there strong and you continue to move forward. That brings us to Nyx. Nyx, give me your 3 dexterity saves.
22 on the first one,
Okay.
18 on the second, 5 on the third. I might use a point for that. Yeah, I'm squishy. I need to. Oh shit. No, that's 12.
Okay. On a 12, you're going to take 15 points of bludgeoning damage. As you are knocked down, earth, soil just like immediately forces itself into your nose and mouth, and you come up like spitting spit. You can't, like, some of it has gone into your lungs, so you're kind of actively choking as you continue to pick yourself up and keep trying to run across this active landslide that is happening underneath you. I am going to make the dexterity saves for Cletus real quick. First one is a 22. Second one's a 25. Third one is a 14. Cletus also takes just 7 points of bludgeoning damage. Okay. That's Nyx. Paramore, onto you. I need your 3 dexterity saves.
15.
Okay, cool. 15, no damage.
17. 24.
Okay. You are not taking anything from this. You keep your footing on the landslide that is happening underneath you as you pursue this thing. Vox, you're the last one. Give me 3 dexterity saves.
21. $19. And 24.
Yeah, that's a pretty flawless execution of running across moving ground.
I just realized with the bracelet from her father's for their birthday, when the moon is waning, which it is, I have advantage on dex saves.
Oh, make it, yeah. So make that one that you can make that one that you failed again.
Worse.
Okay. So you keep that 15 damage. Atticus, I think you took 25. Cletus took 7. Perrin, as you keep your footing, dirt being thrown up, hitting your face, like you feel it, or rather you don't even really, as it hits the sides, and you are of a single mind to find Fauna before this thing does. Give me Perrin's thoughts, as I think at this point you're actually over, like Cletus is running all out, but Perrin, I think you overtake Cletus. You got better dexterity saves, like Cletus falls behind a little bit when he takes a hit from a rock. What are Perrin's thoughts as you close the distance on what is probably the head of this thing?
I think at the moment Perrin is very much in his more toxic version of protecting the people he loves, and in this case that's he really wants to kill something. He wants to put the blame on something. He wants to punish something. So he's very much just focused on destroying this thing, and at this point I think he's reverting to his childhood, to his training. This is not exactly, but this is fundamentally what he was raised to do, was to kill elementals like this. So he's just kind of locked in and in full violence mode. So he's just ready to kill.
Make a perception check for me.
Okay. Ooh, that perfectly lines up though. That's a nat 1. Great. He's locked in.
Okay. On a nat 1, I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw with disadvantage.
$11.
Okay. On an 11, you are running up a crest. You expect to see the head of the Asanoth at the top of this crest. You can feel that you're close. As you reach the top of the crest, the earth shifts underneath you. For a moment, you lose your footing. And from the top of this crest, looking down, as you lose your footing, you start to fall, and you look down to see how you're going to catch yourself on the other side of this hill to get back on your feet and keep running. Perrin, you look down and you see nothing but a massive, hundreds of feet wide in either direction, a gaping, cavernous maw as you are falling into the mouth of the Asanoth. And that is where we're going to end our session.
We're in danger.
We'll be back next week with another episode of Castle Run. And we will see you all then. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.